Good evening, and welcome to Footnotes Folly. We begin the sonnets at the beginning with the first 17, which scholars politely call the procreation sonnets. The premise is simple: a dazzlingly beautiful young man, and a poet absolutely determined that he should marry and have a child before that beauty rots. 17 times, in 17 ways, he makes the same argument. It is flattery, guilt, accountancy, and nagging raised to the level of art. Let us watch a genius run out of ways to say have a baby.
We want the loveliest creatures to multiply, so that beauty's rose never dies. As the old wither, their heirs should carry their memory forward. But you, in love with your own bright eyes, feed your flame with your own substance, making famine where there should be plenty, your own worst enemy. You, the freshest ornament the world has, bury your beauty inside yourself and waste it by hoarding. Pity the world, or be the glutton who devours what it owes, eaten by the grave and by you.
17 poems are about to make a single argument. You are gorgeous, please reproduce, and here is poem 1. Shakespeare has appointed himself your aunt at a wedding.
When 40 winters lay siege to your forehead and dig deep trenches in the field of your beauty, the proud youthful looks everyone admires now will be a tattered, worthless weed. Ask then where all your beauty went. To say it lies in your own sunken eyes would be shameful hollow praise. How much better to answer: this fair child of mine settles my account and excuses my old age, proving your beauty survives by passing to him.
He has invented the "you are not getting any younger" speech 4 centuries early, and dressed it as bookkeeping, a child as your beauty's tax return.
Look in your mirror and tell the face you see that it is time it made another. Refuse to renew yourself and you cheat the world and rob some woman of motherhood. For what woman would decline to bear your child? And what man is so in love with himself that he would let his whole line die with him? You are your mother's mirror. Through you she recalls her own springtime. So through a child of your own, you will one day see your golden youth again, despite the wrinkles.
The mirror gambit. Note he will try almost anything across these 17: flattery, guilt, accountancy, and now interior decorating.
Wasteful beauty, why spend your inheritance of looks on yourself alone? Nature lends her gifts. She does not give them outright, and being generous, she lends to the generous. So why, you beautiful miser, abuse the rich some handed to you to pass on? Trading only with yourself, you cheat yourself of yourself. When nature calls you away, what acceptable account can you leave behind? Your unused beauty goes to the grave with you. Used, it would have lived on as your executor.
Now he is an accountant again, and frankly a passive-aggressive one. The young man's beauty has become a trust fund he refuses to spend.
Same hours that gently shape the lovely face everyone gazes at will one day play the tyrant and ruin it, for time never rests. It leads summer on to hideous winter and destroys it. Sap frozen, leaves gone, beauty buried under snow. If summer's essence were not distilled and kept, a liquid prisoner sealed in glass, beauty and its effect would both be lost, leaving no memory of what it was. But flowers distilled into perfume survive the winter. They lose only their show, their sweetness lives on.
Here the metaphor turns to perfume. Distill yourself, he says, before winter. A child, in this image, is essentially your bottled scent.
So don't let winter's rough hand ruin your summer before you have distilled yourself. Sweeten some vial, enrich some place with the treasure of your beauty before it destroys itself. It is no forbidden usury to make a willing borrower happy, so make another you. Be 10 times happier, 10 for 1 if 10 of your children reproduce your image. Then what could death do if you left yourself alive in your descendants? Don't be so self-absorbed. You are far too beautiful to be conquered by death and leave worms as your only heirs.
He is now offering compound interest, have 10 children and beat death tenfold. The financial puns are relentless. Somewhere an Elizabethan banker is blushing.
Look how, in the east, the glorious sun lifts its burning head, and every eye below pays homage to its sacred rising. Having climbed the steep height of heaven like strong youth at its peak, mortal eyes still adore its beauty, attending its golden journey. But when, at its weary zenith, it reels down from the day like feeble age, the eyes that were devoted now look away from its low descent. Though you passing your own noon will die unlooked at, unless you have a son.
A whole sunrise to sunset just to land on his one note. The young man could set a watch by it. Every poem, sooner or later, arrives at have a son.
You, who are music to hear, why does music make you sad? Sweet things don't war with sweet things, joy delights in joy. Why love what you receive without gladness, or take pleasure in your own annoyance? If the true harmony of well-tuned strings offends your ear, it is only gently scolding you, who spoil by staying single the part you should play in the chord. Notice how strings, like husband and child and happy mother, sing one pleasing note together. A wordless song that says to you, single, you will amount to nothing.
He has noticed the young man dislikes music and immediately weaponized it. Even a chord, apparently, is judging your relationship status.
Is it fear of leaving a widow in tears that makes you waste yourself in the single life? If you die childless, the whole world will mourn you like a widow with no husband's likeness left behind. The world will be your widow and still weep that you left no copy of yourself, while an ordinary widow at least keeps her husband's image alive in her children's eyes. Whatever a spendthrift wastes only changes hands and is still used by the world, but beauty wasted has an end. Kept unused, the one who holds it destroys it.
Now everyone is a grieving widow, the entire world, in fact. The emotional blackmail has gone global.
Admit it, you love no one since you provide so carelessly for yourself. Granted, many adore you. But plainly you love none, for you are so possessed by murderous hate that you scheme against your own self, ruining the beautiful roof you should be eager to repair. Change your mind, so I can change mine. Should hate be better housed than gentle love? Be as you look, gracious and kind, or at least be kind-hearted to yourself. Make another you, for love of me, so that beauty may live on in you or yours.
And there it is, for love of me. After 9 poems of strategy, he finally plays the personal card. We are, it seems, no longer purely theoretical.
As fast as you fade, you will grow again, in one of your children, and the youth you give away you may still call your own. In that lies wisdom, beauty, and increase. Outside it, only folly, age, and chilly decay. If everyone thought as you do, the age would end, and in 60 years the world would be gone. Let those nature did not make for keeping, the harsh, the featureless, the rude, die childless, but you she gave the most, so you should cherish that bounty by giving it on. She carved you as her stamp, meaning you to print more copies, not let the original die.
He has now made it a civic duty, refuse to reproduce, and by his maths, you personally end the human race in about 60 years. No pressure.
When I count the clock that tells the time, and watch bright day sink into hideous night, when I see the violet past its prime and dark curls silvered over with white, when tall trees stand bare that once sheltered the herds, and summer's green is bound in sheaves and carried off on the bier, then I question your beauty, knowing that you too must go the way of all fading things, since sweetness and beauty abandon themselves and die as fast as they see others grow. Nothing defends against time's scythe but offspring, to defy him when he takes you away.
One of the genuinely great ones, and his argument is the same as ever, but here you almost forgive him for it. Time is the enemy, a child is the only blade that cuts back.
Oh, that you were your own, but, love, you are only your own while you live here. You should prepare for your coming end and hand your sweet likeness to someone else, so the beauty you hold on lease would never expire. Then you would be your own again even after death, once your sweet child carries your sweet form. Who lets so fair a house fall into ruin, when careful keeping could honorably uphold it against winter's storms and death's cold rage? Only a spendthrift. You had a father, let your son say the same.
Here he slips and calls the young man love outright. The architecture metaphor, do not let the beautiful house fall down, barely conceals it.
I don't draw my judgments from the stars, and yet I think I do know astronomy, though not the kind that foretells luck, plagues, seasons, or the fortunes of princes. I cannot tell each minute's weather. My knowledge comes instead from your eyes, those constant stars, where I read that truth and beauty will flourish together if only you would turn from yourself to storing up an heir. Otherwise I can predict this much. Your end is truth and beauty's doom and date.
He claims not to believe in astrology, then reads the young man's eyes like a horoscope. The forecast, naturally, is have a child or doom.
When I consider that everything that grows stays perfect for only a moment, that this huge stage shows nothing but plays the stars secretly comment on, when I see that men, like plants, are cheered and checked by the same sky, proud in their youthful sap, then declining from their peak until their glory is forgotten, then the thought of such fleeting permanence sets your youth most richly before my eyes, even as wasteful time conspires with decay to turn your fresh day to soiled night. And in full war with time, for love of you as he takes from you, I graft you new.
A turn here, instead of a child, he offers his own remedy, the poem itself. He will graft the young man new in verse. Mind that idea, it is about to take over.
But why not find a stronger way to make war on that bloody tyrant, time, and fortify yourself against decay with something better than my barren rhyme? You stand now at the height of your happy years, and many gardens, still unplanted, would gladly bear your living flowers, far truer to you than any painted portrait. For the living lines of a child would repair you in a way neither time's pencil nor my apprentice pen can, keeping you alive in the eyes of the world. To give yourself away keeps you yourself, and you must live, drawn by your own sweet skill.
Having just floated poetry as the cure, he modestly demotes his own verse to barren rhyme and an apprentice pen. A child, he concedes, draws a better portrait than he does.
Who will believe my verse in time to come if it were filled with your deserts? Yet, heaven knows, it is only a tomb that hides your life and shows barely half your qualities. If I could capture the beauty of your eyes and number your graces in fresh lines, future ages would say the poet lies. Such heavenly touches never graced human faces. Though my pages, yellowed with age, would be mocked like garrulous old men, your true worth dismissed as a poet's rage and the stretching meter of an old song. But if any child of yours were alive then, you would live twice, in him and in my rhyme.
And the sequence closes by fusing both arguments, have the child and keep the poem, and you live twice. 17 poems, one obsession, and not a single no taken for an answer. 17 sonnets, and a single relentless request, argued every way a brilliant mind can find, through flattery, guilt, accountancy, music, astrology, architecture, and finally poetry itself. What this opening sequence claims is plain, that beauty has a duty to reproduce. What is quietly happening underneath is more interesting. By Sonnet 15, the poet stops trusting children to preserve the young man and starts trusting his own verse. That shift is the hinge of the whole collection. From Sonnet 18 onward, the babies are forgotten, and the poems themselves become the promised immortality. which 400 years later you will have to admit worked. What to read next? Sonnet 18, where the famous immortality begins. In short, Sonnets 1-17 all make one argument: the beautiful youth should marry and have a child. Shakespeare recycles the plea through flattery, guilt, money, music, and the stars. Around Sonnet 12-15 the poems turn genuinely great as time becomes the real subject. By Sonnet 15-17 the cure shifts from children to the poetry itself. That shift sets up the rest of the sequence, beginning with Sonnet 18.